Hey, what's up? It's that Weekend Warrior. I had a very busy but exciting November. It all got started by heading out to the gaming getaway on Okaloosa Island for the event called Really Rad Weekend. This has been the event that I've been looking forward to all year. I missed last year's because by the time I found out about it, it was too close to when the event was happening and I couldn't make the trek. See, Destin, Florida is about 6.5 hours away from where I live in the state. But this year, I made sure that I was going to go to it. So Friday morning, myself and fellow YouTuber Retro Spectrum jumped in his parents' van, yes, their van, thank you very much for letting us borrow it, and we made the trek out to Destin. The event really doesn't get started technically until Saturday morning, but if you had a VIP pass like we did, you could go to Rad Bar. Now, Rad Bar is owned by Joe, who puts on the event, and it's an awesome arcade bar that's out there. But prior to going to Rad Bar, we met up with our good buddy John Riggs and Frank Wood from Premium Edition Games, and we went out to this place called McGuire's Pub. If you watched any of John's videos from last year's event, and I think a couple other YouTubers talked about it as well, this place is like a community. I mean, literally it is just building after building after building, and it intertwines the whole way through. There's dollars hung up on the ceiling, which I guess isn't a fire hazard, but what isn't a hazard is their food. Holy cow, it was delicious. One of the VIP perks is it gave me access to the vendor hall an hour before it opened to the general public. And you know I jumped at that chance. As soon as I walked in though, the first thing I saw were toys. Vintage toys, lunchboxes, Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, Transformers, and more. But the main thing that grabbed my eye were Mad Balls. Not a huge Mad Balls collector. I did have them as a kid. I thought they were really fun and just odd. And I picked up some of the premium DNA toys that have come out as well. But these weren't traditional Mad Balls. Come to find out, talking to the vendor, he is recycling softballs and hollowing them out and creating custom ones. So there was Butters with a shuriken in his eye, which is one of my favorite South Park episodes. There was a Mouser, a couple of Krangs, there was a Skeletor Mega Man mashup, and a few others. All of them were super cool, and it was so hard to choose, but I did end up picking up two of those items. I picked up the Mouser, and I picked up the Mega Man Skeletor mashup. I really liked how they laid out the vendor hall. It wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't a big space either. But they didn't pack everyone in to where you couldn't walk through. I found myself making tons of loops because there was so much to see. If you have games on a game list, this was an ideal situation. Being that Really Rad Weekend is called the Gaming Getaway, it lives up to that name. There was game bringer after game bringer. One of my favorite things was going to the Rad Junk booth because they brought video game vinyl, and being a record collector, I was flipping through all of that. Scott Squatch had a great table. Retro Wolf had a great table. And there was so much that I would pick up and put back down because I hadn't been out in the room for that long and I didn't want to blow through everything within the first hour. So took a step back and did a little shopping with my friend Brandon, aka Retro Spectrum, and check out what he picked out.
And the second purchase, as Jason has convinced me to do, I'm just going to show it off real quick. It is, of course, the Tetris Chicken McNuggets. So I can have that in my collection. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I love how he's like $20. Yeah, he's getting it. Yeah.
Probably the thing I was most excited about pertaining to Really Rad Weekend was the guest list. I'm new into the YouTube scene, and these are guys that I watch all the time. So getting a chance to like hang out with John Riggs, Pixel Game Squad, Retro Rick, Retro Wolf, GameCube Galaxy, Pac-Man Case, Nintendo, Yoshivu, 8-Bit Air, Game Chasers, the list goes on and on. They were all there. But what's awesome about it is I've been to numerous expos, not just gaming, where there's that big line and you have to wait in line, you have to pay a certain amount to say hello or get a picture or whatever the case may be. The thing is, they're just like me. They're just guys that like video games and like nerd pop culture things, and they were hanging out. I attended most of the panels happening the weekend, but my favorite one has to be the Pixel Game Squad Retro Rick Game Show. Essentially, they did zoomed in video game box art, and you had to guess what it was, and if you got it correct, you were given a little post-it note with a number. I took a chance on the first one, and after that, I just kept raising my hand. I ended up with 7 tickets. At the end of it, it was like a raffle, and so they would pull out items that were eligible to win, and one of them was a record. And my buddy Retro Spectrum leans over to me, he was like, "How perfect is that for you?" I'm like, "I know, right? Being a record collector." And sure enough, they call my number, and I won a record. As the weekend was coming to a close, it was now Sunday, I wanted to go back into the vendor hall and wanted to go through all the vendors again to kind of narrow down what I wanted to get for my collection. So here's what I picked up. In short, Really Rad Weekend was rad. I had a fantastic time. I met a lot of great people, built some awesome connections, and it was well worth the wait. I'm very excited at the chance to go back again next year, and if you live in the state of Florida, definitely check out this event. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel as well as click the bell to get notified when I drop new content. Until next time, Cowabunga!